It's time to talk about breathing and how we should breathe while we're hitting these balls and how important breathing really is. First, breathing can keep us relaxed if we're doing it well. And if we're not breathing right, then we're not going to be relaxed. The more relaxed we are, the better on average our shots are going to go across that net. And it's a little bit of a misnomer to say, well, I'm going to be relaxed, but I'm going to hit the ball hard. But that's exactly what you need to do. You need to be loose and controlled and relaxed while you're hitting, but it doesn't mean you can't swing hard. You can. As I work with new students, sometimes they'll tell me, I was holding my breath as I tell them how they need to be breathing. Don't hold your breath. That's not good. How should we breathe then? As my opponents start to hit the ball or they start their swinging motion, I want to be inhaling. Then as I'm hitting, I want to be exhaling. This will help keep me relaxed. So it sounds like this as I start my swing. A nice long, extended, relaxed exhale that finishes about the time that ball lands on the other side of the net. There are a couple of exceptions to that where I want to have a forceful exhale. One of those is on the serve. So as I'm serving, I want a really forceful exhale to throw more body mass, more mentality of I'm going to hit this serve hard into the serve. So it would be more like so I want to exhale really forcefully while I'm serving. And also for my overheads, same thing. I want to exhale forcefully while I'm hitting these overheads. So I would be up here, I would inhale, and just as I'm getting ready to hit, I want to exhale as forcefully as I can. For everything else, try and stay relaxed on those shots and exhale in a relaxed manner. Let's think about being stationary while we hit the ball. So I want my head specifically to be as still, as motionless as possible. Now my body could maybe be moving a little bit, but I want my head to be as still as it can be, because the more my head moves, the more difficult it is to focus on this ball well, which is why if you watch people shoot archery or marksmen who are shooting guns or rifles, they're as stationary as they can be because they've got a target downrange. They're trying to hit that bullseye if they can. And they want to be as stationary and not moving as much as they can. There are some really cool videos on YouTube, on the web, about cheetahs running across the African plain trying to chase down their dinner. And if you watch those, go Google them, you'll find a ton of them. What you'll see is the cheetah's head is on this horizontal plane for the most part, moving across the field as they're running. But their legs and their tail and their body is just kind of going everywhere. But the cheetah understands if my head is perfectly still and stationary as I'm going and chasing after my lunch, they have a better chance of focusing well, which means they have a better chance of getting some lunch that day. Go look up some of those videos, and it's pretty amazing that as uneven as that ground is, and as fast as they're running, and as much movement as in their legs and their tail and their body, their head is literally like this going across that rough terrain as they're trying to chase down lunch. What this means then is if I've got to go run down a ball, whether I'm running forward or left or right or backwards, I want to beat the ball to that spot. So as I'm seeing this ball coming and I have to move to go get in position, if I can get there before the ball gets stopped and stationary, then my head can be more still and I have a better chance to see that ball and focus on it well and hit that ball well over to the other side. Yes, I understand we can't always do that, but given the opportunity to beat the ball to the spot, that's what you want to do. I see too many people trying to get there at the same time as the ball. So the ball's coming on this angle and we're running over here and we're trying to get this ball at the same time, get to that location at the same time as the ball and hit, and that's just going to be way less consistent. Try and get there before the ball gets there. If you want real world examples of this, go watch pro tennis, male or female, it doesn't matter, they all do the same thing. What you will see them as their opponent hits a ball away from them, they've got to run over and get to that spot and hit that ball. They'll take huge steps to get over there, and then they'll start fine-tuning their feet and pumping their feet, and then they will stop, provided they have the time to do that, and then swing and hit that ball. And they're doing that because they understand the more stationary they are, the more still they are, the better they can focus on that ball and hit that ball well. We don't want to get there the same time the ball gets there. We want to get there before the ball gets there and get stationary. And then when we're there, we want to stay in a position. We want to stay low and hit that ball. We don't want to be coming up. If we're coming up while we're hitting this ball, that's not going to help. It's going to lessen our ability to focus on that ball because our head's moving. We don't want to be moving. I want to be down here and stationary as much as I can, hit that ball, and then come up afterwards if we need to. If you've watched many videos on YouTube, then you probably have seen some where somebody recommends that when you're returning serve, you want to be moving forward and moving through that ball as you hit it, and it helps you get up to the kitchen line faster. Yes, it helps you get to the kitchen line faster, but that's not a good thing. So now I have complicated the shot a little bit more. So let's say I'm back here and I'm returning serve and I'm not moving at all or very minimal, the least that I can move. The only thing that's really moving is this ball coming at me, and then I can focus on this relatively well. Everything's fairly predictable. If my general strategy is I want to be moving forward and hitting this ball, now the ball's coming at me and I'm going toward the ball, and now I've just complicated things. It's harder to focus, and now everything is moving, and that makes the shot way more complicated. If you're hearing people tell you to move forward while you're hitting that shot, please ignore those people. That's not a good thing to do. And yes, I understand that sometimes those serves are short and we have to move forward and go get those balls. I'm not talking about those situations where this ball is so short, I've just got to run up and get it. You got to go do that. I'm not talking about that. So I'm talking about when I have a choice, right? That this ball's coming in and maybe I'm standing further back, and my natural default is, because I've been told this by somebody, is to move forward and hit that ball. Please don't do that. The flip side of that is moving backwards and hitting. Equally not good, maybe even worse. So let's say I'm moving backwards and I've got to hit this ball, then any miles per hour I'm doing going backwards subtracts off of the speed of my swing going forward. A lot of those balls will go into the net. Or as I'm leaning backwards and hitting this ball, the tendency is to hit this ball too high, and I give my opponents a high ball that they can put away. Try not to be going backwards when you're hitting that ball. The most common situation where I see people moving backwards and hitting are those where we have served, so my partner has served or I have served. In either one of those cases, after that motion happens, I step onto the court, my opponents hit a deep ball, and now I have to retreat and back up and hit this ball. So try and pay attention to what happens after you serve or after your partner serves. Try and stay behind that line, and then notice how often you're backing up. So if you're backing up, it means they probably hit a deep ball. And even if you were behind the baseline, maybe you were too close to the baseline and you still had to back up. So we don't want to be backing up hitting that ball. We're going to give weak balls back across the net, give balls to our opponents that we can attack. If we're cheating in and exposing our feet, not a good thing. We want to stay either all the way behind that baseline, ready to move forward for shorter balls, or get all the way up to that kitchen line and nothing in between.